Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. This time using my Spellbinders Glimmer hot foil system. I've done a few videos already and I will have more coming. I of course had to do a Slimline card. Spellbinders recently sent me a bunch more hot foil Glimmer plates, a bunch of different ones, so again, stay tuned. I've also purchased a bunch. I've purchased a ton of foils in new to me colors, all that stuff. So I just dove right in. So for this card, I started with the Framed Details Glimmer hot foil. And I'm just using this sort of, to me they look like vines. They're like little leaves in sort of a vine, you know, shape. There is a frame as well. It is really pretty in the set, but the frame is size for A2. And I wanted to make a Slimline card. So to make this work, I have my cardstock here. This is just some mint cardstock that I cut down. It's roughly 3.5 by 8.5. I am going to trim it down, but I wanted that little bit of wiggle room. And then a neat little trick I've picked up watching, like Nicole Spohr does a ton of hot foil videos. She makes amazing cards. And Yana Smakula also has done a bunch because she like designs for Spellbinders and all that. So I've picked up lots of tips watching their videos, one of which is creating handles with tape so that you can get your hot foil plates lined up. So that's what I had done for this first little round here. So I followed all the directions and, you know, warmed up the machine, put the plate on, the timer, yada, yada, yada. And then I had my little purple tape there holding the hot foil plate exactly where I wanted it. And I'm using PRISM foil, which is like, it's just pretty. I actually bought it twice because I'm the worst at keeping track lately of my own things. But with hot foil, I don't mind having extras because then I can play more. But it's like a silvery, but when the light hits it, it's got like a rainbow reflect to it. Really pretty. So I ran it through the first time. And then I have to remove it from the cardstock here. So I'm trying to be careful to like keep my little tape handles. And I'm just using the thermal, like the purple tape that it easily removable. Washi tape also works. And I'm actually going to use washi tape in another step here. But I did the first part. And then I'm lining it up again on this cardstock because I want it to go all the way across my Slimline card. So I've just lined it up and I'm going to press the tape down. And then I'm just going to do the process over again. Got my platform, it's going to be hot. I'm going to lay the Glimmer hot foil plate. You always put these face side up on the platform. And then when you lay down the Glimmer hot foil, you put the shiny, like the fancy part of the foil on face down. Just like so. So what you're looking at right now is the back of the foil. So then press the button, waited for the timer to go off. And then I run this through my Platinum 6 die cut machine with the shims that are provided with the hot foil machine. And right now I am using a cardstock shim. This is one of those things that the more you play with it, you kind of figure out what works. If you're using other hot foil machines, I can't comment because I haven't tried them. People contact me and ask me about them and I have no idea. I don't know how they work. They're similar and they're probably somewhat interchangeable with the supplies and all that. I just can't say for sure because I don't have them, so I can't like compare. This is the only hot foil machine I have. I bought this a couple years ago, whenever it was, and yeah, I've been happy with it. So I did, like I said, this process twice, so now I have this entire piece of cardstock all foiled and fabulous, and it makes me happy. And then I got curious. I was like, I wonder if I can do this with an envelope. So this was a complete experiment, but I filmed the entire thing. It actually turned out even better than I thought. So I have this TEAL Slimline envelope. I'm going to do the exact same process, except this time I'm going to use just some washi tape, mostly because I was like destroying that purple tape, you know, after running it through several times. And with this, I'm putting it right up against the very like top edge of the envelope because unlike the cardstock, I can't trim this down. So I'm doing the exact same process though. I created my little handles just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to heat it up on the machine. I'm going to lay down more of this PRISM foil, the shiny, like pretty side of the foil, facing towards the hot foil plate. And then I'm going to run this through, same thing. The only thing I do different here, and this is what I learned the hard way, but because it was an envelope, I didn't want to redo this process. I didn't want to waste the envelope. I think I probably should have put another piece of a cardstock shim. It's still foiled very well, you can see, but there's parts where I was kind of missing, but I'm not too worried about that. Like, I was just more excited that it worked and it's still pretty. And then when it comes time to like addressing an envelope like this, I either use like a mailing label for the main, like the recipient's address, and then I have like a return, like my address on return stickers, or I will write with a Sharpie marker, like a fine tip Sharpie marker, so that it will go over the foil parts and not like wipe off or anything like that. So did the process a second time, just like for the cardstock, running it through with the envelope and that foil. And then those big metal tweezers, those came with the Glimmer hot foil system when I bought it. So, and same with that brown heat resistant mat, because you just put the hot Glimmer plates on there to cool off. They honestly don't take that long to cool off the more I've played with this, because that was part of it too. I've been like terrified of burning myself, but they're only hot at the very beginning, like right after you run it through the machine, and then they cool off really quickly. And the person talking is the biggest klutz on the planet. I have yet to hurt myself with this thing, but as always, be aware. So anywho, I also used one of the sentiments from the Effortless Sentiments set. I used the Thank You. This one I ran through with silver foil on some teal colored cardstock. And then there are coordinating wafer dies for this set that like come with it that die cut. So you can hot foil the sentiment and then you can die cut it, which I love. So that's what I did. And then now I'm going to start like assembling my card. So I trimmed down that mint cardstock that I had foiled at the beginning, so it'll be slightly smaller than my card base. So it's roughly 3¼ by 8¼ inches. And then I decided I was going to do a little bit of ink blending just to give it that little extra something. So I have some Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just going to blend from the top down. That's also something I want to experiment with more, is like ink blending and watercoloring in that, because the foil will obviously resist those mediums. So the foil just shows up perfectly. So really fun. So I blended the ink from basically the top kind of down and not picking up extra ink, so it just kind of fades. And the nice thing when you're blending on color cardstock is the blend is a lot more seamless, a lot easier than when you're like doing blending on white cardstock and trying to get that smooth blend. Experiment on color cardstock. Do, you know, complementary colors, different things. It's fun, some of the effects you can get. I forgot how much I liked it until I did it on here and I was like, ooh, I like this. So I was going to finish here, but decided I needed a companion sentiment. So I had bought the More Sentiments hot foil plates, gosh, weeks ago. I ordered a whole bunch of different ones, the whole wedding set that Nicole Spohr had designed. So those are all sitting here. Again, they're on my list to use. But I pulled out a sentiment from that More Sentiments, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm using the PRISM foil, but this time I'm using it on a piece of black cardstock. So got that foiled onto the black cardstock. Ran that through my Platinum 6 machine to press it into place. And then I can remove that foil and it looks fabulous. Things like this where it's like more detailed sentiments. If there's areas like the center of like the R and the center of the A, it was just sitting there. It's not foiled in, but you know, it didn't peel off. I just use a white eraser and lightly rub it over, removes it, you're good to go. So I did that. And then I die cut with coordinating die that came with the More Sentiment set. And now I can start assembling my card. So I have some more of this, I think this is Peacock cardstock. I'm not even sure. It's just teal colored cardstock anyway from my stash. And I cut it down to 8.5 by 7. Scored it at 3.5. So this will be a 3.5 by 8.5 inch slimline card. And then I'm going to adhere this sentiment strip just with some Craft Tacky adhesive to my foiled background. Once that's adhered into place, I popped the Thank You sentiment up with a little bit of thin 3D foam squares. And then I'm going to adhere my card front to my card base. And then that little extra bit of black cardstock that's hanging off the edge here, I am going to just flip over the card and trim that off with a pair of scissors. So once I've got that trimmed off, I'm going to adhere the card inside. I decided to keep the inside of the card really simple. So all I did was take another piece of mint cardstock and I blended that same Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink onto it. And then that was it. Gives me plenty of place to write something to the recipient. So I'm just going to adhere that to the inside of the card. And then as a last final step, I couldn't resist adding a little bit of extra bling. So I have some Studio Caudia crystals here. I have some silver foil crystals and some onyx crystals and some icy sparkle crystals, which are basically clear with like a shimmery silver glitter in them that I love. So didn't go too crazy. Off camera, I actually was going to have like 20 more crystals, but then I was like, no, this is good. This is good. I wanted the foil to kind of shine through. So that was my card and envelope for the day. As always, I will have links below my video to my blog post, and I'll have a supply list and a link to all of the supplies used. So you can check that out below if you are interested. Thank you all so much for watching, for subscribing, for thumbs upping, commenting, all of it. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye!